Okay, so I don't want any of you to panic because what I'm about to tell you all gets fixed with a little thing called Crisis on Infinite Earths. But this is the officially unofficial geek channel, and this is Flashback Friday with the first appearance of Jason Todd. I'm your host, Carrie Quinn, and oh golly. Oh golly. See, here's the thing. A lot of us really I think people that okay, let me back up for a second here. Okay, so one, this is fixable. In fact, they prove that it's fixable by retconning all of what I'm about to tell you guys. And after Crisis on Infinite Earths, how do I put this? Batman 357 in 1983. That's what we're doing. That's what we're talking about today. We are talking about the actual first appearance of this guy, this hunk of burning love beside me here, Jason Todd. He doesn't start out like that though. He's like, starts out as a kid in I believe it was March of 1983. Batman 357, Dear God. It's bad. It's bad. Sorry. Okay, so let's talk a little bit. Let's talk about it. So we have Mr. Jason Todd, Mr. Red Hood, Mr. Cutie Pants. Okay, so this is approximately the way we know Jason Todd now. But he wasn't always like this. Sometimes he's, he had to grow up. He had to be Robin first. He had to be the little kid Robin to become Red Hood. So no, right here, we're gonna say right here, we're gonna try to forget this ever happened. We're gonna try to forget this here ever happened. This is another thing. This isn't what I'm talking about tonight, but we're gonna try to forget this ever happened and just go right on back. Here we go, right on back to this. Thank you. But before we get to this, we must first be here. Via here. Now, this is not Batman 357. This is actually a little bit further down the road when Jason Todd actually becomes Robin. See, the first appearance of Jason Todd isn't as Robin. You have to set up the story a little bit here. So eventually we get here where Jason is Robin. But before we can get to here, we must go through this. Batman 357. Oh dear God, no. Okay, so let's talk about Batman 357, where we are actually, for the first time, introduced to one Jason Todd. Now, most people that become aware of Jason Todd become aware of his origin story as it is told post Crisis on Infinite Earths. Okay, so if you are familiar with Jason Todd's story and you think his origin is him stealing or attempting to steal the wheels, an orphaned teenager attempting to steal the wheels off of the Batmobile. That is what most people probably mention as the first appearance of Jason Todd, the origins of Jason Todd. He is an orphan, and on the streets, he tries to steal the wheels off the Batmobile and gets caught. Okay, so then, long story short, in a nutshell, eventually becomes Robin. And I'm here to tell you, thank God for crises, because oh my God, that is such a better origin story than what we actually started out with for Jason Todd in Batman 357 in 1983, the Squid. Okay, so this, guys, seriously, as you see here, no, I didn't accidentally pull up an origin story of Dick Grayson. Sorry, guys, didn't actually do that. What I did is actually, you are looking at the Todds. See, what happens is Dick Grayson is visiting the circus that he used to be a part of. They've come to town, and he's visiting his old buddies at the circus. Yay, fun for everyone. And here's the thing, there's a new team, a new trapeze team that is in the position that his family used to be in, and he's come and he's being told about it, and then he watches the show, and they are referred to as the Todds right here. Whoops, we're getting ahead of ourselves here. This right here is Jason Todd. Points for originality. Jeez. Okay, so here's the thing. And I love where we're going with this, where like the Todds are just fantastic. He's thinking to himself, so why just looking at them send a chill up my spine? Well, it's because it's exactly where you came from. Wow. You couldn't tell an original story about Robin? Come on. You know, I know you guys, it was only the second one. It's only the second Robin. Like I said, thankfully, Crisis on Infinite Earths. Remember it, live it, love it. For gosh sake. For the sake of Jason Todd and his origin story. And I love this. And as Dick Grayson ponders an inexplicable premonition. Okay, one other question I just thought of. Okay. I was like 2 years old in 1983. I know it's hard to believe I was that young, but I'm 40 years old, and I was like 2 years old in 1983. Okay. So I am not completely sure. Can somebody tell me, does he have a bowl cut? Is he drawn like he has a bowl cut, guys? Okay, check this out. Does he have a bowl cut? Tell me in the comments. Do you think here Jason Todd, in his first appearance in DC Comics, has a bowl cut? I need to know everyone's opinion on this. Whoever cares to tell me, please leave it in the comments. Do you think this wherever the picture ends up being, because I'm using Zoom to record this. Do you think this right here is a bowl cut? And if bowl cuts were not popular back in 1983, do you think Jason Todd had something to do with that? Maybe somebody needs to find out where the origin of the bowl cut comes from, because I'm pretty sure it had nothing to do with Jason. Anyways, okay, so here we go. This guy right here. This guy right here, that you can't really see much of, is actually referred to as hello. What is that? Croc? Croc. This is Killer Croc, y'all. Okay, now want to get another shot of, no, we'll get to that in a moment. Just don't worry. Don't worry. We'll get to that in a moment. No. Come back here. Come back here. Okay, here he does not look like he has a bowl cut. Maybe that's just how he was drawn on the other page. Maybe. Possibly. No, he does not appear to have a bowl cut. Does not. Okay, I think we have inadvertently assumed that Jason Todd had a bowl cut, but apparently he did not, unless he just like slicked it back or something for aerodynamic use. Who knows? I can tell you that definitely hair gel did exist in 1983, so maybe he just slicked it back for the purposes of aerodynamics. Who knows? But yeah, okay, so that is basically, that's it, guys. So you have like these two tough customers here making comments about how parents probably shouldn't make their kids circus performance. And you know what? That's a judgment that I'm thinking these two tough customers don't have, one, a leg to stand on, and two, might have a point. Who knows? Anyways, this is it. This is the first appearance of Jason Todd. Okay, but we're not done talking yet, guys. Okay, because I think the real star, the real thing that we should be talking about in Batman 357 is not the first appearance of Jason Todd. No. It's this guy right here. This guy right here. Clement, what was his name? Clement something. Dude is basically like, if you look at I when I read this, I basically thought that my reaction to it is that this seems like, if you look at the way the language is handled here, and how he speaks, it's almost like Elmer Fudd got tired of Daffy and Bugs' shit, finally shot them outside of duck and rabbit season, and then that sent him spiraling into a life of crime. That's my thought. I did notice that, and I wanted to bring that up and everything like that. Poor Elmer Fudd. Wow, couldn't they just let him hunt? And you know what? Why did Elmer Fudd have such a problem trying to figure out when it was duck or rabbit season? Because side note, you're the one with the gun. Okay, but anyways, I'm off topic. I got distracted by the dude that talked like Elmer Fudd in the comic book. Sorry. It happened. I thought I should bring it up. There we go. So yeah, okay, guys, that is really the first appearance of Jason Todd. If you were under the impression that this guy's first appearance had to deal with hubcaps, you would be mistaken, unfortunately. Because this dude's first appearance actually had him as a circus performer, which there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with being a circus performer, but it's just, it lacks originality considering that's exactly where Dick Grayson came from. So, okay, so I kept reading up. I read up a little bit. So what happens here is Killer Croc actually ends up killing the two older Todds, Jason's parents. And when Jason's parents are killed, long story short, he eventually ends up with Bruce Wayne, because we could not because apparently we couldn't tell an original story for the second Robin. Now, thankfully, so like, okay, so he ends up with Batman the exact same way, practically, that Dick Grayson ended up with Batman, becomes Robin, and they do their thing. And eventually Crisis on Infinite Earths happens, where after that, the whole Jason Todd origin first appearance story goes out the window. It gets completely retconned, guys. It gets completely retconned to the story that most people hold near and dear today, which is he was a orphaned street thug who tried to steal Batman's wheels, literally the tires, the wheels off the Batmobile, and got caught. So I feel like, on one hand, I understand where people are coming from when they get upset about retconning and rebooting and what have you. I totally, for the most part, totally get it. The thing is about retconning and rebooting is at least we fix that mess. Whew, that was a mess. It was basically the exact same story of how Dick Grayson became Robin. Finally, Crisis, like I said, Crisis on Infinite Earths happens, and we get that retconned, and we get the story that most people hold near and dear to their heart about the origins and first appearance, the origins of one Jason Todd. So that is Flashback Friday's story of the first appearance of Jason Todd. Love it or leave it. So guys, something important just recently happened. We're gonna talk shop a little bit. My channel recently reached 1 year old here on YouTube. And I've been wondering, I've mentioned it here and there, and people talked about it, and here and there, things. But I've been wondering to myself for a few days now how, or if I should commemorate the occasion. I've been wondering, should I commemorate the occasion? What I should do if I decide to commemorate the occasion, and how we go about doing this. So I have tried to do live streams before, and I just haven't had the ability and or equipment. So first off, what we're going to try and attempt to do is a live stream. First and foremost, this is going to happen in correspondence with next week's Flashback Friday, which I will be giving you. Actually, usually I wait to give the information about what I'm doing for Flashback Fridays on Tuesday when I do the collected edition Tuesdays. But I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to tell you guys up front so I can start and try to build this up so that if I am able to go live, there'll be people possibly that, you know, sit in the chat or something like that. It would be really cool. So when I first started this channel, it had started, give you a little bit of background on what we've been doing here all this time. When I originally started the Officially Unofficial Geek, it started as a podcast. It started as something where you could geek out about whatever and whenever and anything you want. We soon got into, it was a podcast. It was a straight podcast. It was just me talking into a microphone and putting it up on like Stitcher and what have you. That honestly did not last very long. I can't remember exactly why, but it was around that time that I got back into, I've always been into things like Doctor Who, Star Wars, that kind of thing, and things that you have seen on my channel before, collecting Funko Pops, collecting things, doing, you know, all that kind of stuff. Like you can see all the stuff behind me. I've always had an affection for certain characters. I've always had an affection for one in particular. And back when I've read comics before, I've, you know, kind of dabbled here and there, and was pretty heavy into some of the X-Men titles, and but nothing as of like before the last year, nothing had really stuck where I was reading it regularly for a while. And then one day, Joe, who if you've I've mentioned plenty of times, I've actually the last few Wednesdays he has co-hosted with me on What's Happening Wednesdays, where we've been talking about Book of Boba Fett. He actually regularly read the Star Wars comic books, and he started reading about some other stuff that was going to be coming out, and he got interested. And I was like, you know what, I like kind of poking around, you know, stores, and I like reading graphic novels, you know, here and there. Maybe I will come with you to check this out, see if there's anything that catches my eye. Well, years and years ago, when Carrie was a little girl, she used to watch every day, practically every weekday, practically, Batman the Animated Series. Okay, now see, I mentioned that and you guys are probably like, yeah, Batman the Animated Series. From that day that she first appeared in Batman the Animated Series, and yes, her first appearance was on Batman the Animated Series, I have loved one Harley Quinn, one Dr. Harleen Quinzel, since that day. It's really, what's really funny about Harley is just anything. Okay. But anyways, getting ahead of myself. When I went one day with Joe to one of the comic book shops in our area, I was kind of poking around. The thing is they had their graphic novel collected editions right next to their floppies. Right now, I have been into stuff before. Like, believe me, I have the original Death, the High Cost of Living 3 issues. I have Time of Your Life. I have Death was definitely a big deal for me, as you can sometimes you can see. Let me see if I can kind of, yeah, see. My first tattoo was of Death's eye. So yeah, there have been moments where comics had been very important to me, here and there, like I said. And I actually caught a look at a particular book. It was called Batman White Knight Presents Harley Quinn. And I took a look at that, and I was super intrigued. And it pretty much, I went ahead and I bought the first issue, and it pretty much opened some floodgates for me, as a geek, as a person, and I have not looked back since. And the thing is one of the first things that I talked about here on the actual YouTube channel when I was trying to do both the podcast and the YouTube channel. One of the first things I actually talked about on the YouTube channel was a review, basically an overview of two things. One was Batman White Knight Presents Harley Quinn #1, and also which was by Katana Collins with Sean Gordon Murphy. Sean Gordon Murphy actually ended up being one of my favorite writers and artists in comics right now, right up there with some others, but I won't bother mentioning him right now because I'm talking about them right now. I'm talking about Harley right now. But my first couple of videos were having to do with Harley Quinn, the White Knight Presents Harley Quinn, which is stemming out of the Murphyverse that started with Batman White Knight, which, if you've never read Batman White Knight, I cannot recommend it enough. I actually ended up not too long after I got back into comics actually picking up that collected edition. It does sit up here on my bookshelf. Another one of the videos that I did right away was a overview of Punk Rock Jesus, also by Sean Gordon Murphy, which also sits up here on my shelf. But when I read Batman White Knight Presents Harley Quinn, it opened this floodgate for me, and I started it started with Harley, started with each of those issues, getting each of those issues and devouring them, and then moving on and getting more and more stuff. It was around that time that Future State was happening. So of course I went and I started devouring Future State. Oh wow. What is going on? So my computer just decided it was gonna pop something up on the screen for me. Oh my god, that's so weird. Okay. Something just popped up, like my antivirus just kind of popped up on my screen. And it's like the website. It wasn't like I had any weird viruses or anything like that. It's just the website popped up on my screen for some reason. I don't know. So, and I was afraid that I was not recording, and that would have been horrible. Because then I would have to try to do this all over again. I would have to talk about that awful Jason Todd first appearance again. The cheesiest goddamn thing, I swear to God, I've read in a while. And I read Batman #1, 1940 to talk about Catwoman. Anyways, it's done and over with. So reading Batman White Knight Presents Harley Quinn opened this floodgate for me, and I just started devouring everything I could get into at the time with comics now. As it is, when I was getting back into it, it just so happened that DC Comics, their main lines were re-upping, kind of like they had death metal happen, and everything was kind of rebooting, and it seemed like the best opportune time. I just happened to be getting into it at the right time to get into DC. And so that's now, you watch my channel and like probably like 85% of the content, 90% of the content is directed towards comics. Yes, I talk about Star Wars and movies and stuff that I watch. I talk about Doctor Who sometimes, but the majority of what I talk about ended up being comics. That's how it worked out. And that's where I am right now. Now, next week, I happen to, for Collected Edition Tuesdays, I have a book that I got for the holidays. And I'm going to go ahead and announce that right now. But I'm going to be devouring. I've already started reading Joker, Harley, Criminal Sanity. Oh, so far, this is, oh my God. I don't want to say killer but it's killer. I'm really enjoying this so far. I am a few issues in to the 8-issue series in this collected edition. Absolutely beautiful. Like this art. Holy shit. Okay. So we are going to be talking about Joker, Harley, Criminal Sanity on Tuesday for Collected Edition Tuesday. Now, this is kind of one of those retellings of the origins of Harley Quinn, which is something a lot of people have wanted to do and have done. They explored it a little bit in Batman White Knight Presents Harley Quinn, and everyone, I think, seems to want to have their dream retelling of the origins of certain characters. And Harley seems to be one that people do pay attention to, because it's, to me, I feel like, my personal opinion there, it's so intriguing. So I also want to actually, probably, if I have enough time and I don't, get too much in this, I want to reread and also talk about this little ditty right here. It's another retelling. Maybe I'll sit here, I'll be able to compare the two. It's another absolutely wonderful retelling of Harley Quinn's origins. And this one even includes a little bit of a retelling of Two-Face's origin, which is, and another piece where the writing and the artwork is absolutely stunning. So on Friday, for Flashback Friday, we're going to continue that Harley love, and I'm going to try and do a big live event. And basically what's going to happen is, if I'm able to pull that off, we're not only going to be talking about Harley's first appearance, we're going to be talking about all 3 of her first appearances. Because as some of you may or may not know, Harley Quinn did not originate in the comic books, like I was just mentioning a little bit ago. She originated in Batman the Animated Series, and then she had a outside of continuity first appearance in Batman Adventures, Batgirl Adventures number 12, Batman Adventures number 12. Yeah. And then she had her continuity with Batman Harley Quinn number 1. But there's always that first moment where she appeared in the cartoon. So we're going to talk about all 3 of her first appearances. One in the cartoon, Batman the Animated Series, and then her 2 comic first appearances in continuity and outside of continuity. A big old Harley celebration for my 1-year anniversary of this channel, since it all kind of started with her. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to this is what it's going to be called. It's going to be Flashback Friday. I'm referring to it as the Mad Love the good, the bad, and the Harley. And I hope all of you can be there. Like I said, I'm going to try to make this a live event so that we can interact with each other through chat. And if you happen to be available, I would love to see you guys there. If not, I'll obviously let you guys know that it's going to be a recorded event, and then you can watch it whenever you want to. But I hope that we can go ahead and you can join me to talk about those 3 items. I hope you're able to watch my show Collected Edition Tuesdays, where we're talking about criminal sanity. Other than that, we're going to be doing the normal shows. We're going to have What's Happening Wednesdays. We're probably going to end up talking about the last episode of Boba Fett, like we have been. And we also have my regular weekly comic roundup, which I don't have a lot of comics to talk about this week, guys. I have like 4, I think. 4. So it's a pretty light week for that. So I can go ahead and I can take a little extra time to prepare for this event. Mad Love, Flashback Fridays, Mad Love, the good, the bad, and the Harley. And so that's what we're doing. And I'm really excited to do that and share all that, my memories and everything of Harley Quinn. My favorite character. My favorite character I don't have a tattoo of. So yeah, so that's it for today, guys. I hope you can join me throughout the rest of the week and next week as I do my little journey to my anniversary party. I guess we can call it that. And we're gonna try and do it. And that's it for today. So this has been Flashback Fridays, the officially unofficial geek channel. I am Carrie Quinn, and thank God for crises, because poor Jason. Until then, until later on, until all that, I'll be seeing you guys, and